Oh my God, we gotta jump. We gotta jump. I'm gonna fly you somewhere else real quick. Join me in the 21st chapter. The 21st chapter. Maybe we can all agree, and maybe it's obvious to your eyes, Peter failed his test. Oh my goodness. He's flunked the love seminar. And you know what happens when you flunk the love seminar? When you think you love Jesus, but something happens and it kind of proves that you didn't. You might be in this situation too. You say, well, I tried that. I tried that disciple thing. I don't know. Didn't quite work out. I wasn't really meant for it. I didn't have the capacity. I couldn't quite get this thing done. Maybe it's time to go try something new. Even though this particular story happens to be the third time that Jesus visited the disciples, he's actually shown himself since the resurrection. Peter still isn't quite thinking of himself entirely as a disciple. He's wondering, what should I do? He's been called, they've all been called to go out and to preach it. That's what they were doing, preaching the kingdom. Yes. But at this point in Peter's life, Jesus has confirmed something in him that he doesn't see in his own self. And so when he comes to think about it in his own natural sense, he says, maybe I need to go back to what I know. Something I'm more sure about. I think that's the way to read what happened here, because Simon Peter said to his friends, the disciples he was hanging about with, I go a fishing. Y'all, this was my life before I knew Jesus. This was my life. I and Andrew had a business, and we were doing pretty good for ourselves. And maybe I've made the wrong turn. I just haven't met up. I haven't accomplished what I should have accomplished as a disciple. Maybe I need to go back to what I know. I just may not be cut out for this. I go a fishing. They said unto him, we also go with thee. And some people always follow the leader. Oh yeah, you go fishing? Yeah, we're going fishing. And off they all go. They went into a ship, and they labored all night long and caught nothing. Jesus makes his third appearance to the disciples. He shows up on the shore, instructs them to lay down their nets one last time, tells them what side of the boat to do it on. They want to tell him, we've labored all night, masturbating, there's nothing there. And instead, because they're obedient, they dip into that water and pull out a draught, a heavy load of fish. And at that point, John says, that's Jesus over there. I can't really see who's talking to us on that shore, but nobody but Jesus. Nobody but Jesus. And Peter agrees. Throws on some clothes, swims over to meet Jesus. And we have the last part of his seminar experience. In fact, Peter thought the seminar was over. I already flunked. I'm not even a student anymore. But Jesus is one of those teachers that refuses to let you fail. One last example. Any students ever had a teacher when you messed up and you were just about to go hide yourself? You would have just as well disappeared. When the teacher sought you out and asked you, what happened? Ever had a teacher that just begged you, take the retest, take the retest? I know you know this material. You just must have lost it. What, you didn't sleep that night? What happened? I want you to take the retest. Everybody ever take a retest that the teacher asked you to? Yes. Maybe you didn't even have the confidence in yourself that you would pass that test. But the teacher saw something in you. Jesus comes to Peter and says, take the retest. We're going to do this. We're going to do this again. We're going to take the test again. And that's the situation we find ourselves in. Let's go to verse 15 of chapter 21. So when they had dined, Jesus saith unto Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. He saith unto him again at the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved, because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep. There's something interesting about the passage that we don't catch in English. In the Greek, there's a use of words that is suggestive. It's only suggestive. It's suggestive because the Greek words are different for love that John records here. But I say it's only suggestive because obviously, I think it's important to say, Jesus and Peter were not having a conversation in Greek. That's just basic Bible knowledge. In the land of Israel, they spoke Aramaic and did not speak Greek. John writes in Greek because he writes to the world. He's reaching out past Jerusalem. He's reaching out past the Jew. He's reaching to the world. He writes his gospel in Greek, which is the lingua franca, the common language of the known world. Like today, somebody would write something in English so it could reach the most people. The conversation they had was not in Greek. But it is interesting that when John tells the story in Greek, he says that Jesus said something like, Simon, do you agape me? And that should click in our minds. What's agape? It's that God kind of love. That's right. Yeah. Self-sacrificing love. The Bible love. Yeah. Love like the Bible says. He says, do you love like the Bible says? Do you have that kind of love for me? Right. Yeah. And John records that Peter answers. The Greek word he uses to answer is, Yea, Lord, I phileo you. I love you like a brother. The implication, it's implied. I wouldn't stand on this principle. I wouldn't stand on this point and die there, because again, I know that Jesus wasn't speaking Greek and Peter wasn't speaking Greek. But the implication of the language that John uses is that somehow Peter spoke of his love in a more filial, in a more friendly way than say that he loved him agape style, God style, self-sacrifice style. And we would understand if that was true. Because the direct answer to the question, do you agape me? Do you love me like the Bible says? Do you love me like God loves? Wow. Glory. Do you love me like I loved you? Yeah. Well, Jesus went to the cross for me. And I denied him 3 times. So not to die. How on earth can I say I agape you, Jesus? So quite possibly, he mitigated that statement. I love you like a brother. I can get that level of love. In the second time Jesus asks, John records that he again uses the verb agape. Peter, do you agape me? And John records that Peter again uses the word phileo. Lord, I love you like a brother.
Yeah. Really.
Because he knows he can master at least that kind of love. And he fears he can't get to the agape love. And then Jesus asks a third time. But this time, he asks using the phileo. Do you phileo? That's what John records. As if he stepped down to the brother. Okay, then, do you really love me like a brother? And that hurts Peter to his core. So, Lord, I never want to take this test. You know all things. You don't need me to tell you. You read my heart like it's a book. You know I phileo. You know I love you like a brother. So that's a very interesting dynamic of the verbs that he uses, right? And of those three questions that Jesus asked.
Yes, sir.
That's very interesting how he, maybe, if we're to understand what John is saying in the Greek, maybe God condescends. Peter couldn't rise up or didn't feel that he could rise up to the Bible kind of love. But he could rise up to at least the brotherly kind of love. And Jesus says, well, then I'm going to test you on that. Do you really love me like a brother? And the answer he can give, full-hearted, complete answer to Jesus' question. Yes, you know I do. You know I do. And those three questions about his love, it's like they are erasers, and they're erasing the three denials of Christ. It's like he got a do-over.
All right.
And Jesus restoring him. But the other interesting thing about this passage, each time he asked him, do you love me? He tied it to a command that Peter must keep. Feed my lambs. Feed my sheep. Feed my lambs. Because what did we say? What did we learn in the review? If you love Jesus, you'll keep his commandments.
All right.
It's always tied to your obedience to Christ. He says that's the test, that's the proof.
Yes.
And I like to say Peter learned the lesson. Peter becomes a pastor. He called himself an under shepherd to the great shepherd. And not a hireling. I'm talking about an under shepherd. The hireling will run, but Peter will walk to his death, as tradition teaches us. Thought it was too great for him to be crucified like Christ. Say, turn me upside down. I don't deserve to die like my Lord. Pay me upside down. Oh my God. Peter's willing to die for the sheep in Rome. He's willing to die for the gospel of Christ. He's willing to die.
All right.
Because love grabs hold of you, strips away fear. Perfect love will cancel out all fear, and you'll be able to do the work of God.
Yeah.
He's a living example. But you know what else is an example of? He's an example that you can get the retest.